Hello YouTube, how you doing? Right, before I start I would like to recommend you check out my religion channel that I've just started. I'm trying to put things together in a more sort of easy to see way, and cut out all the fluff. So yeah, I'll stick a link in the description and check that out and subscribe because it should be good. But as for this video, it's going to be a bit of the traditional sit down, talk for a bit, updates and whatnots. So I will be starting with the Psalms, predicting the future. I did have a little sneak peek, and over the next sort of 10 years, and I kind of like what I see. Right. We'll get on with that. So Psalms, it's a Jehovah's Witness prediction that Psalm 1 is about the year 1901, and it's sort of the beginning of the end of the world, and there's 150 of them, so it would end in 2050 if they are right. I've been doing it for a few years, and yeah, I actually think there's something in it. Although, they're very short, what can you say about a whole year with a few lines? It's going to be ambiguous, but, maybe there's something to see in it. So we're coming towards the end of 2022, and I did my video last year on Psalm 122. And for some reason I got the idea that we were going to, be feeling solar flares, and we're going to be having to suffer a bit perhaps, but if we said peace be within us, have peace be within you, if you had peace within you, then you would be able to ride it out and it would be okay. And so far we have seen, we've seen a very busy year for solar storms. They had thought there was going to be a bit of a lull, but it looks like this year picked up so much that it looks like it could be a strong peak, which we don't reach really until 2024. So there could be more to come, but will they affect us? Who knows? But we're looking forward when we read Psalm 123. And in this video I am going to have a quick look at how I think the next sort of 10-11 years are going to go. So, Psalm 123. I lift my eyes to thee, whose throne is in heaven. As the eyes of a slave follow his master's hand, or the eyes of a slave girl her mistress, so our eyes are turned to the Lord our God, waiting for kindness from him. Deal kindly with us, O Lord, deal kindly, for we have suffered insult enough. Too long have we had to suffer the insults of the wealthy, the scorn of proud men. So I feel like this is a very encouraging psalm. So an encouraging year for 2023. And this is one of the only places I know, it's obviously not the only place in the Bible, but so rarely do they sort of mention both sexes. So as the eyes of a slave follow his master's hand, or the eyes of a slave girl her mistress. Very rarely do we see that. So I think there's something significant for that for 2023. And is it, the power of women? Some people would argue that it's already gone too far. I suppose I wouldn't argue that, but I would say in some areas it seems to have, perhaps we're not sort of doing it very carefully, and we're just sort of trying to sort of make it more equal without really considering what are the benefits of having women and men doing specific jobs. So anyway, so for 2023 then, I expect there to be something, the girl power coming up, and women feeling good and men feeling good too, but specifically slaves. So I lift my eyes to thee, whose throne is in heaven. That's God. As the eyes of a slave follow his master's hand, right? So we are, we do like, those of us who believe in God, we want to be good with God, right? We want, because God is the best guide you could possibly have. So, follow God, let God guide us, and etc. So like a slave to God. And but obviously, there's this saying something about poor people, because at the end, it's talking about for we have suffered insult enough, too long have we had to suffer the insults of the wealthy, the scorn of proud men. So something, rebalancing perhaps of the class system, which is all over the world. India, it's the caste system, so whatever you're born as is where you slot into the hierarchy. And then in England, we have a few class levels. One thing I think would be good is if they did bring in a rule that with big companies, the person you pay the most can't get more than 20 times what you pay the least. And at the moment, they go way over that. So I think that would be a great rule to sort of level up, as they say. Anyway, so 2023 then, it's going to be a good year, it sounds like, and we're going to see some leveling up. Deal kindly with us, O Lord, deal kindly. So there's obviously maybe continued judgment going on. Everyone's going to be judged a bit. Everyone can be a bit proud. And we can all sometimes be in wealthy positions. So yeah, 2023 is looking good. So 2024, 124, is this a long one? Because I don't want to read the long ones. No, it's not too bad. A year later, I'm just going to skip because I kind of want to look at the big picture a bit. 124. If the Lord had not been on our side, Israel may now say, if the Lord had not been on our side when they assailed us, they would have swallowed us alive when their anger was roused against us. The waters would have carried us away, and the torrent swept over us. Over us would have swept the seething waters. Blessed be the Lord who did not leave us. To be the prey between their teeth, we have escaped like a bird from the fowler's trap. The trap broke, and so we escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. There we go. That's a good one then for 124. 125. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken but stands fast forever. As the hills enfold Jerusalem, so the Lord enfolds his people, now and evermore. The sceptre of wickedness shall surely find no home in the land allotted to the righteous, so that the righteous shall not set their hands to injustice. Do good, O Lord, to those who are good, and to those who are upright in heart. But those who turn aside into crooked ways, may the Lord destroy them as he destroys all evildoers. Peace be upon Israel. So 125 looks like it might be a bit of a hairy year, and that would make sense with me as my 19-year wave thing. The peak is at 2024. So 2025 we're going to be feeling like we're going over the roller coaster. We're going to be getting those feelings back like did in 2011, or maybe you didn't, but anyway, I did. we're gonna be getting hints of them, little sniffs of them down at the bottom of the roller coaster. And yeah, so it's going to become more and more important to be righteous, and I feel that. I feel like, you know, and lots of others as well. When you've made your decision to you're going with God, you're one of God's servants. You know, there are trials and tests, and yeah, getting prepared for what we're going to have to survive. 126. When the Lord turned the tide of Zion's fortune, we were like men who had found new health. Our mouths were full of laughter, and our tongues sang aloud for joy. Then word went round among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. Great things indeed the Lord then did for us, and we rejoiced. Turn once again our fortune, Lord, as streams return in the dry south. Those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. A man may go out weeping, carrying his bag of seed, but he will come back with songs of joy, carrying home his sheaves. So that sounds good, but it sounds like, you know, those Zion's fortune, those of Zion, those, you know, it's going to be starting to be noticed that they've got something that, you know, technology can't give. 127. Unless the Lord builds the house, its builders will have toiled in vain. Unless the Lord keeps watch over a city, in vain the watchman stands on guard. In vain you rise up early and go late to rest, toiling for the bread you eat. He supplies the need of those he loves. Sons are a gift from the Lord, and children are a reward from him. Like arrows in the hand of a fighting man are the sons of man's youth. Happy is the man who has his quiver full of them. Such men shall not be put to shame when they confront their enemies in court. Yeah, well, you know, that one obviously needs some going into. There's quite a lot of information in that one. And 2027, you know, we're going to be on the decline, but getting used to it. We'll be getting used to our new position on the wave. 128. Happy are all who fear the Lord, I who live according to his will. Oh, sorry, that's the one. I'll start again. Happy are all who fear the Lord, who live according to his will. You shall eat the fruit of your own labours. You shall be happy and you shall prosper. Your wife shall be like a fruitful vine in the heart of your house. Your sons shall be like olive shoots round about your table. This is the blessing in store for the man who fears the Lord. May the Lord bless you from Zion. May you share the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life, and live to see your children's children. Peace be upon Israel. Again, it's like a guide or a warning, you know, the man who fears the Lord. Respects God, you could also say. Fears the Lord, respects. I mean, should you fear an all-loving God? No, you shouldn't fear an all-loving God. But should you fear swaying from what the loving God shows you to do? Yes. Because the results are bad. 129. Often since I was young have men attacked me. Let Israel now say, often since I was young have men attacked me. But never have they prevailed. They scored my back with scourges, like ploughmen driving long furrows. Yet the Lord in his justice has cut me loose from the bonds of the wicked. Let all enemies of Zion be thrown back in shame. Let them be like grass growing on the roof, which withers before it can shoot, which will never fill a mower's hand, nor yield an armful for the harvester, so that passers-by will never say to them, the blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord. Okay, I'm not going to go into that, but there's obviously some wisdom in there, or some information in there to be gleaned out, because I'm wanting to get to one when I'm going to give you how I think it's going to be going. 130. Out of the depths have I crawled to thee, O Lord. Lord, hear my cry. Let thy ears be attentive to my plea for mercy. If thou, Lord, shouldest keep us account of sins, who, O Lord, could hold up his head? But in thee is forgiveness, and therefore thou art revered. I wait for the Lord with all my soul. I hope for the fulfillment of his word. My soul waits for the Lord, more eagerly than watchmen for the morning, like men who watch for the morning. O Israel, look for the Lord, for in the Lord is love unfailing, and great is his power to set men free. He alone will set Israel free from all their sins. So that sounds like a preparation. I mean, also sort of he was begging for mercy, so you could say there was something going on, but it sounded like a waiting. I suppose you could be waiting for the suffering to end. So 130 could be the big flare, the fifth trumpet that hits the seat of the beast. And the seat of the beast is its power. What is this modern day beast, America and England? What is its power? I would say it's technology. Technology is its power. Technology has been keeping us addicted to the next step and the next step, engaging us with its newness, and we're all flock towards it and worship it. So it's the big solar flare that's going to blow up all the transformers that are there in all the generating stations that feed the electricity grid. Without the grid, what have you got? Unless you've got your own home-built generator, you won't be able to charge a telephone. So 130 it could be, or it could be, one of those years where... Let's see what 131 says. O Lord, my heart is not proud, nor are my eyes haughty. I do not busy myself with great matters, or things too marvellous for me. No, I submit myself. I account myself lowly, as a weaned child clinging to its mother. O Israel, look for the Lord now and evermore. So it's a very short one. And to me, so that could be, the year after. The year after, the world has changed. Maybe bits of technology might come back on. But maybe there's such a uproar, such a horror, that, things just ain't the same afterwards. Now, number 132 is a long one. So, I'm not going to continue on that in this video. Maybe I'll come back to these in another one. But reading those, so basically from 123 to 131, 8 years, I think we're going to be seeing the people who truly believe in God perhaps being even more persecuted, but their identity becoming clearer, and them I think we're going to see the uprising of, call that Zion, the people who fear God, if you like, and so it's known, that there are still them standing up, and soon they'll be prospering, and then in 2030, my prediction, in 2030, we will have a big solar strike that's just going to basically put the world into darkness. And that is the fifth trumpet. And what we've got in between now is, these dark forces trying to sway everybody to be like them, and just care about the economy and money and new fangled things you can buy. Whereas the rest of us, we're getting more into nature. We're getting into the mushrooms, the DMT, the ayahuasca, any sort of crazy thing you can get off your head. I mean, I did some mushrooms. I did the red and white ones, dried them properly, boiled on low heat for 3 hours. That was the best way. Drank it. Great trip. Just felt really merry. I felt like I could focus on things. I just felt better for it. And also I'd watched a few videos, and it changes some people's lives. There's so much we can get from these mushrooms. I hear lots of people now having lion's mane, and it's like a medicine. And so much better than taking this pharmaceutical stuff, which is basically just inferior chemicals which has dodgy side effects. But it's pushed because they can make a profit. They can make a tidy profit. And it's money which has been ruling. Money has been making the world go round, because money has been there. If it gained money, it was good, it worked, it was a success, so it thrived and it grew and it became strong. And that reminds me of something I wanted to say about the media, is that the media only care about having listeners and selling newspapers and things, so they'll only put in what they think will sell more newspapers, and that just ends up being all the negative things. And they should have more responsibility in terms of what they put out there. One-sided propaganda is the wrong thing to do. That's not why we have a free press. But it's not a free press anymore. It's a corrupt press. It's the fifth estate, or whichever estate it is, has become corrupt. Power corrupts. We have the technology, use the beast system against itself, but we could quite easily get rid of all the MPs and people just vote on everything. There'd be a vote on it. We'll all vote on it, and that's the people's way then. You could have, regional, and I've gone through that before. But they don't want to do that, because they don't want the majority voting for things like, how much should we tax people? Because obviously the majority would vote for their own benefit, which wouldn't be for the benefit of those at the top. And for a long time, we've had a civilization where very few people at the top get to boss around a large number of people into doing work that halves their life expectancy. Basically slavery. Basic slavery, with taken so many rights away from people to have their own family, have their own land. I mean, that is the way it should be. But it's not, because money has driven the way it works. And that's probably going to change. I wanted to talk about Tattvas. So, just a quick brief thing. I had this thing in my past when I was 19. I had this whole year where these sort of visions were coming to me, but they were also feelings, and I didn't want to dwell on them too much. And they came to me in a sort of a pattern. I got about 7 throughout the year. And because I wasn't that focused on them in later life, I didn't fully remember them right. I imagined there was a green one, because there was a yellow one, a blue one, 2 red ones, a black one and a white one, and I just thought there was probably a green one and I forgot. But there was never a green one. There were 2 yellow ones. And so what it was, why I call it a colour, is so I would get this weird feeling, in the realms of deja vu, but not deja vu, but sort of in that sort of eeriness. And there was a definite colour associated with it. And the first one happened as I was just before I was leaving Africa. I looked out of the skylight, I saw Orion. I think the ceiling was yellow, so yellow was associated with that. But I could almost, do you know what I mean? It left this imprint, like something I just couldn't forget it. Anyway, came back to it and got another one. And I described that as champagne colour. I guess you could say it's a bit yellow. I got a definite blue one in about April. I got a red one, which was a red, like, pickup truck or something driving on some dusty road. But so the colour was associated with red. I just felt this. Do you know what I mean? This is what I'm feeling, not what I've done afterwards. Just what I felt at the time. They were bothering me a bit at this point. And then I got another red one. It was a setting sun down in Brighton, and my brother was there, and I could never make sense of these things. I got a black one, and then in November the 30th, 1997, I got this white one. It freaked the crap out of me, and I changed my life. I just sort of dumped it there. But the feelings that I got, like say on that last one, that white one, actually came back to me a few years ago during meditation. But since I'd had all the knowledge and understanding that God isn't a C-U-N-T, God is a loving God, I looked at it differently. I was still a bit apprehensive about it as I was feeling that feeling coming, that recognition that it was reminding me of that time before. I thought, no, now I know, now I know to accept this and lovingly and enjoy it. And that's what I did, and it was just engaging with God. And but a few months ago, or about a year ago maybe, 6 months ago, I was watching this series on meditation and chakras and stuff by someone who got a lot of the Vedic information from the East. And he mentioned these tattvas. And he said these tattvas are in their specific colour, and I've got a picture on my desktop, and it's yellow, white, blue, red and black. Maybe not in that order, but it's like, they're the colours. And just sort of, well, okay, so, what is, and obviously in the Indian Vedic stuff, they've got words for everything. They've got, but what they are, I just checked on Wikipedia earlier, they are like, was it principles or realities? So realities is the word which makes sense for me that these were kind of other realities or reality modes or something. I still haven't got full understanding of them. I'm wondering if the red truck one, or maybe all of them, are to do with previous lives. So, say I believe a deja vu, you can get good ones and bad ones. So a bad deja vu, a scary deja vu, is when you're sort of making the same mistakes again that you have in previous lives. And a good deja vu is when you're back on the right track, sort of thing. So I've been wondering lately if these may be sort of memories in a sense from previous lives. So that red truck might have been me in that red truck in a previous life. The blue one that I saw, how many times have I looked at the blue sky before in a previous life and wondered what the hell is it, probably loads of times. And the setting sun, So, yeah, I don't know yet though, I'm just pontificating, maybe something like that. But the fact that they're there in the Vedic stuff, just sort of has made me more intrigued about it. Because at one point I came to the conclusion, or the only thing I can think of is that I was opening the 7 seals. And if I'm 100% honest, I'm still not counting that out, but that's probably a bit. So anyway, they're called Tattvas, and in the Indian Vedic knowledge, they've got names for everything. They've got names for hand signals. I think they're mudras, and then obviously you've got chakras for the points of the hormonal system, and you've got mantras for things you say. Now, I've heard about these and I've tried them for a few minutes, and I prefer not to do it without anything. But I have changed to start having my hands down on my knees, face down. I just find that most comfortable. And continuing with the tipped forward head, which has I haven't had any neck pain really come back at all. That's definitely affected that. It's helped that. So I just think it's interesting. I wanted to get down about these tattvas, that they're there basically. That that helps me think that I wasn't going insane, and which I didn't believe I was anyway. Especially lately after I've done meditation and got back into that sort of stuff. But at the time, if I known about these tattvas then, do you know what I mean? I could have then perhaps, sought some advice or something, and maybe I would have been less freaked out by it. I might not have gone to a different country and done national service. So anyway, maybe it's a good thing that I didn't know. And me personally, I'm glad the way my life has turned out. I wasn't always. I think it was about 2016. No, we're talking about 2012-13 probably. That I'd had these 2 depressive waves, and it just told me, that I needed to change because I disconnected from emotion, from that. Disconnected from that sort of that source of guidance, your emotions. I'd gone like almost flatline, and meditating and believing in God. Because I think I was, I've said this before, but I'd gone to the conclusion that that there wasn't a God. I mean, it's in my song. So I got to the conclusion that everybody together, if you put everybody together, that was God. That's the conclusion I made back in 2006, 5, something like that. 2006. And so from then till 2011, 12. Yeah, so 6 years of that, and I was getting depressive waves. Like, didn't last long, but it was so significant. I remembered it, and when it happened a year later again, it wasn't a stroke, but it did sort of feel a bit like, ooh, just nasty. And obviously, once I got into meditating a bit, feeling my own presence, understanding a bit, trying to remember more of my memories, I was on the path. And I suppose God must have been guiding me, because that's all I did. I'd read the Bible. So I'd even read the Bible when, so what year was that? It was about 2008. I started reading the old, the whole lot, Old Testament and New, from beginning to end. So I was obviously, because I had split up with my wife, so I probably had plenty of time. Again, my point was, sorry. When you find your purpose and your path and everything, then you're just glad that everything worked out the way it was. Then you no longer look back at those moments and think, well, I should have done that. My life would have turned out so differently if I'd done that. You just don't know how it would have turned out. You could have walked in front of a lorry the next day. You just don't know. But, we think like that sometimes. But when you find your path and your purpose, then you don't feel like that anymore. And to find your path and your purpose, seek within. It will come to you. Let go. Don't force it. Don't try. Call out to God. You're allowed at least one freebie of faithless test. Apparently, you can just say, God, if you exist, please let me feel you. And apparently you're allowed at least one freebie without faith. Bins night. So something I've been doing in this video, which maybe I should have said first of all, maybe not. I'm trying throughout this video to not be alone, to have God's presence with me. I just want to see if, anything to make these videos go a bit further than they do. But, yeah. So I just thought I'd let you know that. So updates, you've seen the things I've been making. Got my old drum there, I'll show you the drum. So what's the latest thing these days? Holographic world and stuff like that. When you make stuff out of wood or whatever, make something, you soon learn that, this holographic universe is quite fiddly sometimes. So the great idea was to use an octagon. That was the breakthrough, because I was stuck for ages. And then I thought, get a square bit of wood and cut a circle in it. And I thought, use a square. No, use an octagon. I can do an octagon with straight bits of wood. So it could be tighter. And I've done a little gig with this, using it as a foot drum, because I've got a foot pedal, and playing guitar and singing, and actually it was really fun, although that setup that I did, the drum was too loud. So I'm going marching like this now. And then the other thing I've been doing, which, let's see if it allows me to do this. What? I've been using YouTube to help me with this, I'll tell you. Oh, bugger. Get that out of here. Sorry. Oh yeah, I need the tripod. Apologies. North, Miss Testmarker, north! Right. See if I can manage to do this. So we have battery, some more batteries, mind the way. Then we'll put, is it red? Black, red there. And from black to red. Good. Red. Oh no, I want that one there. So I want the black one in there. So we're making it in series. And then we need this ear. By the way, this isn't going to be particularly fast, because it is quite low powered. Is that B to B? And then A to A. Negative battery terminal, positive battery terminal. Positive first. And then ready. Oh, it's falling out. black, red to black, to black. It hasn't worked every time, to be honest. Yeah, there's two. Oh, is it? You see? Is it in shot? Yeah. It moved. Right? It moved, therefore it works. You just need to boof up the power of it. Right. So that's the complicated one. But the idea with that one, that complicated one, is to be able to use this motor as a generator. Put energy back the other way. And then the other day I found this much more simpler one. So a lot of these, this is a brushless motor, it's only got 3 wires coming out of it. This one is a motor with brushes, and that's much simpler. All you need to do is connect one coil and one brush together, and then how are we going to power this? And then I don't know if there's much juice in these batteries. And then put these on the power. Let me just check I got that right. So that's a brush, that's that brush, and that's that coil. And there's that brush and that coil connected. Right, that's got no juice. I'll do it off one of these. These are good, I don't know if you can see them. You sort of like stab that into the battery. Now newer batteries, you have to short 2 of the pins to give it the on signal. So it doesn't matter. There you go. See that? Do the trick they do on YouTube. So that's just 12 volts of the laptop battery. And I don't know how much torque there is in there. There's quite a bit of weight in there. That's a washing machine battery. Right. You haven't got anything else to show you now. How long has that been? Oh, I didn't want to do that. Oh. Just stick it down there. It'll go wonky. Never mind. So we'll see if that's worked out, trying to have some sort of perception that God is with me. I'm trying to keep that going throughout this video to see if something will help. It's like my mate said earlier, you know, we don't call out to God until we're really desperate. So is that why God afflicts us with these things, so that we'll call out to God? And yeah, probably is. When no one else can help. When no one else can help you, you can call God. Jehooseh-Vahoosah. It's working for me. Jehooseh is Mother God. Vahoosah is Father God. And it's almost like maybe the name means, like maybe Jehus means mother, and then Jehooseh, my mother. Vahus means father maybe, and Vahoosah, my father. That's how I feel like when I say it. Jehooseh, ah, it's a fucking song, isn't it? Sorry, I shouldn't have sworn. So yeah, I think that'll do. Consider yourselves updated from my point of view. If you care, you don't have to. I care. Ciao for now.